Hello everyone, welcome back to A Guy Called Henry. Jake Paul versus Mike Tyson fight week is upon us. And as ever, when I'm covering a fight, I like to react to the face-offs, to the head-to-heads, any interviews that we get, just because it's an opportunity to get a little look inside the minds of the fighters in fight week, to try and understand where they're at mentally, how prepared they are to go to war, potentially, if they're overconfident, if they're underconfident. Now, I say all this because this is not your typical boxing match. This is between a guy who's a retired legend, or has been retired legend, and Jake Paul, who is somebody who has sought to sort of dupe the public with the way that he moves himself in his career. He's trying to make people think as far as he can that he is a legitimate, bona fide boxer who is trying to become a world champion. And yet he's only fought guys who are other content creators, retired MMA fighters, or old MMA fighters, I should say. Everyone's always undersized that he fights, and the only professional boxer he's fought is Tommy Fury, who also is a guy who we're really not sure how good he is. It doesn't seem like he's that good, seeing as he very narrowly beat KSI. And he did beat Jake Paul, so fair enough. But is he going to go and become a really good fighter in the professional scene? No. And frankly, I don't blame any of these guys. Why would they? They're making great money. Now, my issue is not with any of that stuff happening. It's completely fine, in my opinion. And I think that, you know, social influencer boxing, content creator boxing, YouTube boxing, whatever you want to call it, is ultimately something that will get more kids into boxing and will develop future top-level fighters. So in that sense, it's a really good thing. But I guess my only goal with doing these videos really is to provide some objectivity from somebody who understands the complications of boxing and the nuance of boxing. So Jake Paul's literally just posted this face-to-face video. I'm going to get straight into it and react to it. Guys, before I do, please hit a like on this video. Please subscribe to A Guy Called Henry if you're new. I'm hoping I'll have lots of new visitors to the channel in this video. I've just hit 5,000 subscribers, so we're an up-and-coming channel. I've only been back doing this since July, so it's moving quite quickly. And get your comments in the comment section below. How do you feel about this fight? Just before I start this, I have to just say, I'm not a fan of the fight. As I keep saying, and I'll reiterate this point, I like fights that have lots of unanswered questions, lots of intrigue, because the less we know, the more exciting it is. But I don't think that that is a good thing when the factor that is unknown is how much physical deterioration a fighter has undergone. As undeniably, Mike Tyson is the better fighter, the better boxer. No matter what Jake Paul tries to tell you about how if he wins this fight, he's going to become he's going to become a world champion. No matter what, I will never ever feel good about a fight that is equal based on physical deterioration of another man. It's okay when a fighter is still active and has been active. Of course, you know, look at Canelo right now. He's not the same guy he was a few years ago, but he's still very, very good. And the fact he's slightly physically deteriorated makes some of these matchups a bit more interesting than they might otherwise have been. However, with Tyson, it's just too much. It's just too far gone. He's been retired for years. We've seen him retire. We saw the best of him probably 20 years ago. So absolutely, and even longer than that, he was at his best in the 90s. So absolutely, I really want to reiterate that point that I don't like this matchup because of that factor. However, I am going to cover it because I think it's cool that there's going to be a lot of fresh eyes on this, and I want to make sure that, you know, you come and find my channel and hopefully start supporting boxing and following boxing off the back of it. So anyway, let's get into it.
Gentlemen, how you doing? Good to see you.
Nice to meet you, bro.
Look, to maintain order, we're going to allow you guys 45 seconds to answer my question. The opponent has 45 seconds to respond.
This is like a presidential debate.
Yeah, tell me about it.
All right, all right.
When I'm here, it's important.
Hopefully it's not 2v1 like Trump had to deal with.
Nah, man. We good. You guys ready? Go.
Interesting. So they're going to try out some new format here. I do appreciate what these creators bring to the boxing scene with. They try and have innovative and fresh ideas, new ways of going about things to try and, you know, bring boxing into the 21st century. Because at times boxing does lag behind a little bit. Anyway, let's continue.
All right, let's get it. We're going to start with you, Mike. Why'd you agree to take this fight with Jake Paul?
I believe this is going to be great for boxing. I believe I'm going to win.
Jake, why'd you agree to take the fight?
Money.
With Mike.
Man, he's a legend, you know. This is the guy. This is one of the two most famous boxers to ever live, him and Muhammad Ali. This is a dream come true for me. I am inspired by Mike, his story, you know, what he's persevered through, and to be able to fight him and to share the ring with such a legend is a special moment for me, and it's historic. And the fact that we did it with Netflix, it's the biggest fight of the century, and that's what I love to do, make history.
Also money. Yeah, it's money for both guys, and you know, Tyson, right, it probably will have a good impact on boxing, and we'll get to that, I'm sure, as we go. I'll talk about how I think it is a positive thing for boxing as well as a negative thing. But Jake Paul's answer, you know, he's a legend. It's an honor to share the ring with him. Mate, if you really, admired Tyson's legend and felt strongly about the legend of Mike Tyson and were passionate about his career, then, you would feel ashamed of yourself wheeling an old guy into the ring, a significantly diminished version of Mike Tyson. I'm sure throughout this interview, they're going to try and show Tyson as a dangerous threat, which to an extent he is still. But let's not get it twisted. Jake Paul doesn't give a damn about Mike Tyson. He 100% cares about making money, and that is why this fight is happening, and there is no other reason for it.
History, have fun, and go to war.
Well, to add on top of what does it mean for boxing?
Everything, man. This all came from an ayahuasca ceremony. When I saw this happening, I saw the butterfly effect of every kid going into the gym the next day wanting to be like me or Mike. 700 million people watching on Netflix. And the impact this will have on the sport is unfathomable, and it's untangible, quite frankly.
Okay,
So this point of, the benefits of influencer boxing, this idea that it's going to get kids into the gym, I do actually agree with that point. I do think that is the sole positive, that kids will watch this fight, they'll see it, it puts boxing into their mind's eye. Hopefully they'll have the right mindset. They'll be curious. Why did this guy do well? Why did this guy do badly? Oh my God, this is Tyson. Why did he get knocked out? What did he used to look like? Oh, he's aged that badly. I hope that people will be curious about the fight because it is happening. People are going to watch it either way. I just hope that they are curious about what they see. And if Jake does indeed win, they don't go Jake Paul beat Mike Tyson. They go Jake Paul beat a very, very deteriorated older guy. And if Mike Tyson wins, then, all the better. They'll go back and they'll look at the performances that Mike had when he was in his absolute physical prime. They'll understand that there's absolute levels in terms of technique that Jake still has to go through if he wants to get much better and actually compete with proper professionals. And I do ultimately think it is going to get kids into the boxing gym. So there are good points to this for sure. I can't say it's an entirely bad thing. But however, what I will say is if Mike Tyson, for example, gets seriously hurt in there, which is a possibility, he's an older man, and when the punch resistance goes, it doesn't take a lot. We saw it with Roy Jones. He was getting knocked out by fighters that were a million leagues below his ability of level when he was in his prime. When that punch resistance goes, he could get seriously injured. And I wonder how Netflix will feel if that happens. And that's why questions start to sort of come into your head. Really interesting that Netflix have signed up to do this. Surely they're terrified that something really bad could happen, no? Or maybe the people that are agreeing these deals aren't really privy to the kind of sport boxing is. I don't know. But imagine something bad did happen to Mike. That's why you sort of wonder, is there going to be essentially a gentleman's agreement in inverted commas, a bit like with the Tyson and Roy Jones fight, where apparently people have informed me that they agreed to have no headshots. I don't know if that's true or not. I never actually heard that. But let's continue.
Mike, so what does it mean to be fighting Jake Paul? And same question to you. What does this mean for boxing?
To be honest, boxing's never seen nothing like this in the history of boxing. Since it began 250 years ago, it's never seen anything like this, and probably never will.
Well, Mike.
I mean, I can certainly agree with that. We've never seen a retired, much older, great from boxing go and fight a guy who was on the Disney Channel, got a YouTube channel, dedicated the last few years to boxing, and then is fighting him. We've never seen that. Is that a good thing, though? I'm not sure we should have seen it.
Let me ask you this. What does it say about Mike Tyson if he knocks out a 27-year-old Jake Paul?
Mike just knocked somebody else out again. This is going to be big. It's just, it's not like it's just some 27-year-old. It's Jake Paul.
I think what it says is that Mike has a bit left to give and that Jake Paul isn't great, basically. And when I say a bit left to give, I mean he can knock out a guy like Jake Paul. I don't mean he could go and compete at any kind of significant level. It kind of removes the facade a little bit around what Jake is doing, because I think there are people out there who think he really can compete with top-level professionals. Hopefully people will understand that that's not the case, even if he does beat Mike Tyson. Otherwise, he would be doing it. So I do actually appreciate the way Jake has moved in his career in terms of making money, and the way he's promoted and hyped certain situations and fights up. It's still impressive what he's doing, and he is doing some stuff that is good. He has got some decent boxing understanding, and he does some things quite well. There are other things he does very poorly. So, I think the reality of the situation here is that we just have to understand what this is. That's all I'm saying. We've got to understand what we're looking at. If Mike Tyson does knock him out, then it is what it is. And if Jake Paul knocks out Mike Tyson, then it is what it is. But put either of these guys in a ring with a significant professional heavyweight boxer right now, cruiserweight boxer right now, light heavyweight boxer right now, it's not going to end well at all.
Jake, same question to you. What does it mean if you knock out a 58-year-old Mike Tyson?
Yeah, when it happens, it's going to be a little bittersweet because I have love for him. But at the current moment, we're meant to go to war. He's trying to take the food off my plate. I'm trying to take the food off of his plate, and that's what Warriors.
I love that. He's trying to take the food off of my plate, mate. More like he's trying to take the 5th Rolls Royce out of your driveway, and you're trying to take the 5th Rolls Royce out of his driveway. I mean, I assume that Mike Tyson's still pretty good for money, which is why it's curious that he'd be doing this for money. But then, I don't know, maybe he likes the challenge. Maybe he wants more money. Who am I to judge, you know?
Do. But for me, I've dreamt this, manifested it, and it'll be the start of, you know, what has been a 12-year career for me in entertainment and acting and working and all the things I've done now into boxing. This is finally my moment and my time to shine. And I'm going to show the world who the fuck I am, because everyone's doubted me. Everyone's had something to say. Nothing was ever given to me. I've had to work for it all.
The time has been on 0 for a while now, so I guess they've just kind of sacked off that format.
Suppressed by everyone, kicked off of YouTube, kicked off of platforms, canceled 5 times, and here I am, throwing the biggest event in really all of entertainment, actually. And now it shows to the rest of the world what hard work and perseverance can do. And I'm just happy to be able to show that to other kids who maybe have to go through adversity and have to fight and have to keep on proving themselves time and time again.
So from your answer, what I got is, you said when it does happen, so you're gonna knock Mike out.
It's already written.
Okay. You heard that shit?
Clearly.
Just making sure. I like that confidence right there.
This is the baddest man on the planet, heavyweight. Look, I mean, just look at the fucking guy sitting here right now.
Right.
He's an animal. He posts Instagram pictures and I get a little scared because of how good he looks. But I have to step up to this level and show people that I can accomplish the impossible. And that's what the story of Jake Paul is all about.
Yeah, Jake, though, he's just trying to sell the fight, but also make sure that he gets maximum credibility if he does win. And indeed, if he loses, that it doesn't damage his reputation too badly, because this has become a really good financial endeavor for him. And, you know, all this stuff about, oh, it shows determination, it shows turning your life around and all this stuff. Really, what I think it shows is a guy who had a lot of athleticism, who already had a big platform, realizing that there was an opportunity if he went hard with the boxing stuff, that there were ways and means that he could manufacture situations that would make him a lot of money. And that's what he's continuing to do. And I don't have an issue with that. He is at a certain level. These guys are taking fights. People do want to watch it. So what can you say? What can you do? At the end of the day, everyone involved is there willingly. So I don't have a problem with it happening. I hate it. I hate that it's happening. I don't want to see Mike Tyson fight. Old Mike Tyson fight Jake Paul. I did a poll on the community page tab on my channel. And I said, who wins, Jake Paul or old Mike Tyson? Because this is not Mike Tyson. That's what we need to remember here.
Now, Mike, a lot of people gonna point to your fight with Kevin McBride and say that that's when your skills basically dissipated 20 years ago.
My life has changed since then, and I decided to fight Roy Jones, and that was successful, and now we're fighting.
So people shouldn't even bring that shit up no more.
No, they should bring it up.
Okay.
They should see the difference from there to now.
Gotcha.
And I've actually read Mike Tyson's autobiography, and the life he led was absolutely insane. Drug-riddled, so many women, just absolutely insane trouble and chaos constantly. And yes, his life has changed. It does seem that he has a more holistic lifestyle now versus what he used to be like. However, I just feel that the damage is there from what he did, whatever happens. And he probably thinks in some aspects he's in better shape now than he was when he last fought in a proper fight. Obviously, he says he did the successful comeback against Roy Jones Jr. And if he's harping back to that again, it was very exhibition-y. I feel that we might be about to see the same thing potentially. And that is kind of where it's difficult to analyze all of this, because I can take this as seriously as is possible. I can try and analyze the technique, I can analyze their mindsets and all that. But if at the end of the day, this isn't actually a bona fide fight where they're really going for it, then yeah, it's a difficult one. I don't actually understand how any of that works. Like, what obligation do you have to the public, to the paying customer, that this is a real, we're trying to knock each other out contest, that there's no little agreements between us off camera? I don't know, because essentially that happens in boxing all the time. That's the whole role of a journeyman in fighting, is to go in there and give young prospects rounds, but make sure that they're not winning. That's the whole point of being a journeyman. There's actually some really good journeyman boxers who could probably win against some young prospects because they got so much ring experience if they really went for it and really tried. So even in the professional game, we have manufactured elements. And I wouldn't be surprised if there was elements of that at the very least in this one.
What you
Me
got to
me
say?
at my worst, to me at the biggest event in the history of events right now. There's never been any bigger than this. So what they have to say about that?
What you feel about that?
Yeah, I mean, that's what critics do. They sit on their couches, they sit in their homes, and they have so many things to say because they're unhappy with their lives themselves. They'll try.
Well, I'm a critic. I am sat in my home. I am sat in a chair. So I agree with all those things. I'm actually quite happy with my life. I'm not being critical because I'm unhappy with my life. I'm being critical because I have an interest in the sport of boxing. This is a major event that's happening, and I want to understand where this sits in the boxing landscape, and if indeed it should happen, and if it should sit in the boxing landscape. And it's just good to understand the dynamics at play here, the things that they want you to believe, the things that are actually real. They want you to believe this is a very, very competitive fight. They want you to believe that Jake Paul is going to be a great boxer. They want you to believe that Mike Tyson's got plenty left. So I'm just trying to read between the lines and see what's actually true here. And obviously, ultimately, they want you to buy the pay-per-view. They want you to go and watch this. So actually, I'm much more of a trustworthy source than they are. I'm impartial. I'm indifferent. I'm watching this as an objective observer. I don't have any skin in the game other than I like the sport of boxing. So I'm much more reliable to listen to than Jake Paul is about what this fight is. So you can say I'm unhappy with my life, Jake, but I'm actually doing all right. So, I don't take it personally. It's fine. It's just like you're trying to excuse and explain why people should ignore any negative criticism of this fight. But it's very important that we talk about what are the good things and what are the bad things. And I hope that I'm doing that in this video.
Try to rip people apart like me and Mike, who are actually going and fucking doing something.
He had 11 pro fights, 1 amateur fight. How do you rate him?
Hey, listen, he's been successful in all those pro fights except one, and that's why we're fighting.
It's been 4 years in professional boxing. And in terms of what I've done in those 4 years and the amount I've learned is more than any pro boxer. So just in terms of how much I've learned and grown, I'm the fastest growing and learning boxer in the sport.
So he says he's the fastest learning pro boxer. Are you even a pro boxer though? I admit he's learned a lot in the last 4 years, but he's had wealth and resources available to him to allow him to do that. And no, hey, if I had the wealth he has, I'd do exactly the same thing. I think it's so cool that he's been able to invest his time and money into becoming a really, really good boxer. I think that's brilliant. Is he the fastest growing pro boxer over the last 4 years? I'd say definitely not, because there's guys out there who have been moving from the amateurs over to the pros who have improved massively. There'll be young guys out there that we don't know about who are in the gym grinding every day over the last 4 years, becoming better and better, who will be improving immensely. But has Jake Paul improved a lot in the last 4 years? Absolutely. But can I call him a professional boxer? Absolutely not, because he hasn't actually fought an active professional fighter yet, except for Tommy Fury. But even he's not really a professional boxer, because he's kind of fought some journeyman, done a bit of reality TV, hasn't really been consistent with his pro career. So until he actually starts at the bottom and works his way up, fighting other prospects and coming through, I can't ever call him that. Or, and I understand that for him, the route will never be the same as others because he generates that much revenue. He's always going to want to have some sort of name attached to what he's doing. And he is getting better in the process of that. But the question is, will he at some point take the step to go and fight an active pro who's actually at least close to their prime? He always talks about fighting Canelo. Canelo would absolutely destroy this guy. It would be a joke. So, yeah. I wouldn't call him a pro boxer. As a boxer, has he improved a lot in the last 4 years? Absolutely. I'll give him credit for that. No problem.
And that's what I rate myself off of. If you calculate how good I got from year 1 to year 4, no one else has made that progress. So really, to me, that's the most important thing to focus on. And I have big plans, and I'm continuing to, again, do the impossible and show people what I'm capable of. And they chalk up what I've done to fights being rigged. Still, when he posts on his Instagram looking like a killer, hitting the shit out of the mitts, the top 5 comments are, if Jake wins this fight, it's completely rigged. And that used to bother me.
Right.
That used to bother me because I was like, no, I'm working so hard. Can't you fucking people see? But now I take it as a compliment, because the human peon brain of the 99% can't even comprehend
Can't even get it.
how good I've gotten and what I'm accomplishing in this world.
But he just said it there. People are seeing the clips of Mike and they're going, "There's no way Mike can win this fight. It's rigged if Jake wins." But he's talked about the lack of intelligence of people. All it is a lack of being critical. What you're seeing with Mike is something he'll never really lose, which is his punch power. What you're seeing with Mike is something he'll never really lose, which is his ability to throw combinations. I mean, when he's a very old man, sure. But what we're not seeing from Mike is continued effort is how he moves through sparring, how he moves through the rounds, the stuff that's actually important. There's so many guys who look good on the pads, who look good on the heavy bag, who are absolutely terrible boxers, who don't have any balance or coordination or fitness or stamina or punch resistance. These are the things that are really important here. So to the people that are saying that stuff, you're just buying into the hype too much. And yes, he looks exciting still, and it's cool. It's nice to be able to get excited about. It's Mike Tyson, but it's not Mike Tyson, guys. It's not. He can do little pieces of what he used to be able to do. Let's continue.
They telling me you're talking too long. There's not no Trump shit. They trying to give me the...
That's what I'm saying. I knew this was going to happen.
See, don't...
Hey, we got all the time in the world. We can make edits. What's your name? Joe. Shut the fuck up, Joe. Thank you.
So they've already abandoned their timer format, and I think Jake, the way he commented there, makes me think that he heard about it maybe just before, that's how they were going to do it, incorporate this new format. And he said that's what I was worried about, and I think that... or maybe he said that's what I was talking about. And I think that he probably immediately heard it and thought, that's not a great idea. I want to have freedom to talk and space to talk. I don't want to be on a timer. And I wonder if it was like with the mindset of we can make each of these segments into a short clip for social media, something like that maybe. I don't know. I'm obviously not on their creative team. But yeah, they've abandoned it. Jake said let's abandon it and we move on. And it didn't really work. But again, I do appreciate the innovation they bring to the sport.
Control, do your thing. He over there. Don't harass me no more, Joe, nigga. That wasn't on me. All right, now look, one thing that people cannot deny is your activity. This is your third fight this year. You had 3 fights last year, 6 fights in the last 2 years. Where boxers are fighting once every 2 or 3 years. Does that make you better as a boxer, the activity?
Yeah. Well,
before I answer that, I just want to say I remembered something I wanted to comment on before in the last section, which was Jake Paul saying that people saying his fights are rigged. I don't actually think that his fights are rigged. I just think that people don't understand how much of a difference there is between MMA and boxing. You know, and I know he fought that Mike Perry guy last, but he had 1 pro fight and he had 1 defeat. He does okay in the bare knuckles seemingly, but I don't really know a lot about that. I watched the fight against MVP that he had on Michael Venom page, that is, on YouTube. I actually didn't even think he won that fight, but he blocks punches with his face. So obviously in a boxing match, you're going to get knocked out doing that. And the MMA guys that he's fought, not only have they been moving over to a new discipline, but they've also been older and smaller than Jake Paul. So I think he had a pretty close fight with Anderson Silva, as I understand it. I do remember watching that. I haven't revisited it. But the point is, there's always a caveat with these guys that they're not natural boxers. So it's less for me that I'm saying these fights are rigged and more for me that they're just, everything about it is calculated to be in his favor. They are fighters, so their public perception is Jake shouldn't be able to beat a professional fighter, but boxing and MMA are 2 very, very different sports. The way that you approach everything is so different. So we can get into the nuances of that another time potentially. That might be a good video for me to do. But anyway, we'll continue.
100%. And I have to stay active. I have to stay working towards my goal of becoming a world champion. So there needs to be 3 fights a year for me at least. And that's how I get better, is under the bright lights and performing when there's adrenaline and nerves.
This thing he keeps bringing up, this ambition of becoming a world champion. That's where he loses me. I'm okay with everyone getting involved in this event. I don't want it to happen, but like I have to accept it. I can't get on board with this mantra, this line he keeps wheeling out, which is I'm going to be a world champion one day. You know, there's been some pretty bad world champions, but I don't think any of them are as bad as Jake Paul. So we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens. If he gets there, fair play to him. I just don't believe that he's actually interested in doing that. So we'll see.
I've always been in the gym training. I'm boxing professional fighters. I'm just, activity is great. I had 15 fights in 1 year when I was younger, and I think activity is great, but I'm prepared. I'm just ready to go.
That's interesting that Mike said that he's always been in the gym training, because I remember when he was on Joe Rogan the first time, he talked about how he had to stop training for a long time because he found that even getting on the treadmill, or no, it was only the treadmill he could do, anything else would start building his ego, and he just couldn't do anything other than go on the treadmill. So maybe that's what he's talking about when he says he's always been in the gym. But I definitely remember him saying that his ego started to build, so he had to stay away from it for a long time. And he was afraid of his ego because he was afraid of the old Mike coming out and all that sort of stuff. And there was lots of clips going around where you saw like the sort of fear in his eyes and the intensity that he had when he was talking about this. So he said he's always been in the gym. It doesn't really matter too much whether or not this is what he's saying is accurate. But yeah, for sure, guys, like the gap between them is only small. It's got nothing to do with what Jake does, because Jake can only do so much. That he is what he is, but the gap is small because of Tyson's decline, and it's just how much has Tyson actually declined here. But Jake Paul has improved too, I will say that. So Jake Paul a few years ago had no chance in this fight. Jake Paul a few years ago has a chance in this fight. Mike Tyson, maybe this is the question. Does he have a better chance now than he did 4 years ago? Because he thinks that his training's better, that he's improved. His coach was talking about it, but trying to find the truth somewhere between hyping the fight and what is reality. We're looking for what is reality here, and we won't know until they actually get in the ring together. I think that most people are just sort of praying and hoping that Mike can win this fight.
Now, does a loss to Jake Paul damage your legacy?
I don't look at my life as a legacy. Legacy to me means ego. Who the fuck cares about my legacy? I'm going to be dead soon one day. But he's not going to win.
What do you say about your legacy if you end up?
It's an interesting one. Mike says legacy is ego. And there's an interesting line I heard once, which is, I can't remember who said it. But they were asked, how do you want to be remembered? And they said, who says I want to be remembered? And it's an interesting thing. Why are we so obsessed with being remembered? When we're gone, we're gone, and that's it. Why does it matter if we're remembered? And, in light of that, it's an interesting philosophical question to think about. And Mike definitely seems to try and stay away from things that make him egotistical now, but perhaps that would be a negative thing going into this fight. I think you need to have ego as a boxer. You need to have aggression and pride, and you need to want to win. So I think Mike appears to be very docile during this face-to-face. I'd love to know if this is fight week or if this is months before. Usually these things are filmed a long time in advance, so we might see a more aggressive Mike Tyson in fight week, but he does just seem very sort of tired and sort of lethargic in the way he speaks around these fight weeks at the moment. So it'll be interesting to see how he is actually come fight week. And I would love to know when this was filmed, but I'm not sure.
Beating Mike Tyson, not just beating Mike Tyson, knocking Mike Tyson out.
Obviously, it would be the biggest moment in all of boxing history on Friday night when I put this man to sleep. So that is pretty dope.
It'd be the biggest moment in all of boxing history. Okay, sure. There's never been a bigger moment than Jake Paul, who's never fought a legitimate professional boxer, fighting old Mike Tyson, who is literally slowed down so much. There would never be a bigger moment than that.
He dreams a lot.
A lot of dreaming.
I knew it,
He does
they
a lot
all
of
come
dreaming.
true.
This is not going to come true, young man.
Hey, man, I respect your opinion, but it's just my time. The universe know it, the gods know it, I know it, and you're going to know it. Plain and simple.
Okay, for next week, we'll see.
We will. That's the beauty of boxing, is the truth comes out, and by golly, do I love the truth.
Mike said next week we'll see. So I assume then, unless he's playing along with the narrative this is going to go out in the fight week, that this was filmed last week. But yeah, Mike seems very calm. Jay just said that boxing brings out the truth and he loves the truth. I'm not sure you do, mate. I think that you've told quite a few porkies in your time. Porky Pies lies, in case for my American viewers. But yeah, it is what it is. Move on.
Are you concerned if Mike hits you flush on the chin, this shit could be fucked up?
Yeah. Yes. Indeed. I have to be alert. This is a scary, scary man. He's a killer and has all the power still clearly in all the videos, all the sparring that he's showing, dropping his sparring partners. My mom is messaging. She can't even watch Tyson punch. She won't watch it because it scares her.
The punch is still there, the power is still there, the speed is still there. He's heavy, so that will be there, and the snap looks there. My last video, we saw a little clip of him on the heavy bag, and I reacted to that, and his coordination, his timing looked good, his balance looked good in that small clip, and that's the thing, we just don't know because we've not seen enough, but yeah, he can punch, and if he punches on Jake on the chin, he will knock him out, and Jake isn't used to dealing with that heavyweight power. They are in 14-ounce gloves, though, and they always say it's those little, if you have got a pair of 10s or a pair of 12s on, that's when you really start to feel a difference. 14s will make a little bit of a difference, but also for Mike, because his punch resistance will have gone too. So I think for both of them, 14-ounce gloves is actually quite a good thing.
And he has one of the deadliest uppercuts of all time. So of course I have to be ready and know that he's going to have some moments in there, and I'm going to have to persevere.
Now, Mike called you a manufactured killer. How you respond to that?
I would say the deadliest weapon in the world is manufactured. That's a nuke.
I like that. I like that. I like that, man.
Yeah, but there's no natural nukes, is there? Like, I think to be a natural born killer versus a manufactured killer is this idea of, I really mess people up for a living. You have sort of chosen this lifestyle. You don't have the hardship that I've come from. You don't have the determination I've come from. The thing is, I feel that's fairly nullified when you've already made a lot of money and you've had a career of note and you're older. So I'm not sure. It was a cold line. I liked it a lot. It was scary, but and it adds intrigue and hype to the fight. Excuse me. But it is what it is. It's a good line. But there's guys who had less hard lives than other guys who are better boxers. And boxing is a sport at the end of the day, people. Whilst you do have to go to certain depths, you need certain mental resilience, toughness, stuff that does typically come with having had a harder life outside of the ring before you get there. With having a tendency towards violence that other people don't have. I've met some very nice guys in boxing who just did not have that killer instinct, that killer edge. But both of them now to knock someone out, clearly. So, yeah, we'll continue.
And I think it's scarier to be a peaceful man, waving Disney Channel wands around, and then to choose to kill.
Now, Mike, look, you criticize Jake's skills. What does that say about you if you lose?
Well, I'm not going to lose. So I can't even fathom losing. I can't even imagine it. He's not going to win. I think he thinks this is going to be a very easy night. It's not going to be an easy night.
I don't think that. I think it's going to be a war of ages. The fans are the ones who win out of this, but I know you, I know your soul on a deeper level, and I know myself, and I know you're not going to fucking quit, and neither am I. You could rip my head off. I can go down to the canvas. You can fuck me up. I could be bleeding from everywhere, and I'm not going to stop. And I know that's the same for you. That's the beauty of this, is I don't think it's going to be easy. I know it's going
to be fair to Jake, he has shown an appetite. He's taken shots in there, and he's stuck with it. He has shown determination and willpower. So, yeah, he does have that in the guys that he's faced. That's what we've seen. But he's never been hit by a guy like Mike Tyson. So we'll see if Mike lands clean, if there's some kind of different reaction from Jake Paul. And yeah, with Mike Tyson, he says he can't fathom losing. And a lot of that is struggling to accept that we're not who we once were, and this fight should be in theory quite close because of the physical deterioration. But in terms of skill for skill, Tyson is so much more experienced and so much more polished. He has actual unbelievable boxing technique for the style he uses. But the biggest problem with his style is that it requires a young man's body. It requires athleticism. He was never a master boxer in the sense of he was able to make up for physical shortcomings with his style. You get some guys who are, jabbers. They move very well. They got good timing, all that sort of thing. Impeccable footwork, all that sort of thing. Mike had all of that, but it was in the way that he boxed with that pendulum, side to side, constant head movement, fast, sharp uppercuts and hooks, closing the gap, very, very, very quick feet. All requires great athleticism. So he didn't have to try and account for the fact he wasn't an athletic guy, is what I'm trying to say with his style. In fact, if anything, his style required more athleticism, and that's why it could be a little bit problematic now. Well, very problematic now if he tries to box the way he used to, and I think that is the only way he knows how, really.
It's going to be hard. And when Amanda Serrano wins Katie Taylor, I think we do the trilogy at Croke Park. I'll get Donald Trump to come in. He loves doing big fights since Eddie Hearn hasn't been able to get anything done over there. He's too busy trying to be in Katie Taylor's corner for the fight. Can you believe that? I mean, the clout chasing on this guy is fucking insane, but Katie will make the trilogy happen in Croke Park, and it's going to be, something they could settle the score. I believe.
Do Jake and Eddie still have their legal case? I think Eddie sued Jake for defamation because Jake said that Eddie had rigged some judges' scoring or something like that in a fight. I don't remember what fight it was. But I think that court case is still ongoing. So I imagine that's why Jake is making Eddie's life difficult. In terms of clout chasing, I mean, the fact that he signed Amanda Serrano gives Jake huge credibility. It gives him much better credibility in the boxing world that he's actually promoting a genuine female boxer, professional female boxer, is part of one of the best female fights that can possibly be made. And it adds something to this card. It brings a genuine bona fide world title between two great female fighters to the mix. So that is, I don't know if it's clout, credibility, whatever you want to call it. I'm not sure. But Eddie is Katie Taylor's promoter, so it's not weird that he'd want to be there for that event. And he's, everyone's trying to be credible in this game. Everybody's trying to keep their faces in the mix, especially when these big events happen. So it's no different from anything Jake Paul would do. And I think Jake's been there for all of the, Matchroom events where he's had one of his fights, where he's had Amanda Serrano involved, sorry. So, yeah, I don't know. I'd have a problem with Eddie asking for that.
Oh, yes, I got you a gift.
Thank you very much.
I got you a gift, Mike.
You want a pigeon?
This is a pigeon from Southeast Asia. Very expensive, but I wanted you to have this.
Thank you, Jake.
How do you feel about that?
Huh?
You like Mike's loves pigeon. What do you feel
Yeah,
about that?
it looks like a low low budget pedigree. But
We paid thousands of dollars
This
for that.
is an expensive pigeon. I seen.
That's actually quite funny. When Mike goes, it looks like a budget pedigree, and Jake goes, we paid thousands of dollars for that. I don't know if that's true, but that made me laugh. But yeah, I don't know what this is all about. I think it's just good visually. It's part of the promotion, basically. Mike Tyson being gifted a pigeon. He obviously loves pigeons.
A video of, and I'm not sure if you've seen it, Mike. Did you see his Instagram today?
well, what?
Maybe it's good that you didn't see it yet. He asked you guys face to face, and he's kissing you in the mouth in several pictures on Instagram. It's actually on his page, and it's kind of went viral today.
Let me go and have a look at that. It's like an AI video where these are the videos of their face to face, and they've like made it so that they're kissing. Interesting. I think Mike has turned into a white guy during the last clip. Wait, let me wait for the last one again. This one. He's turned into like a white guy. That's so funny. Anyway, yeah, that's very weird, but welcome to the world of social content creator boxing promotion.
Of him just stepping to you, kissing you in the mouth several times. Does stuff like that aggravate you?
I have that effect on people. You know, I have that effect on people.
Okay.
I've just never seen someone handle a pigeon.
You got pigeon flies in your family, don't you?
Yeah, I do.
Is it a low budget pigeon? Or
He had no one loves him. He has no band or anything, so he doesn't belong to nobody.
Okay.
well, he belongs to you now.
I'll feed him to my falcon.
Oh,
So that's food for your falcon?
Yeah.
This is getting interesting. Good luck, gentlemen.
are you really gonna feed him to your falcon?
Yeah, but I can't take him with me. There's no way I can take him.
That's fucked up, Mike.
What?
You don't feed the nigga to your falcon.
I would never do that, man.
Nah, thank you. Good job, man. Yo, thank you for the opportunity, Mike. Good seeing you. Love, man. Appreciate you.
All right, well, that's that. I'm not going to watch the Taylor Serrano one right now. I might do that in a separate video. Although I'm not that interested in that fight, to be honest with you. I don't really follow women's boxing too closely. If it's part of like a bigger event, I'll watch it if it's on the card, but I don't really study it the way I study men's boxing. But anyway, top line thoughts. Mike seems very, very docile, given this is supposedly filmed the week before the fight. It's not the Mike Tyson we remember, but not really surprising. He's a lot older and he's a lot calmer, seemingly. Jake Paul, the same as ever. Some of the things I wasn't super comfortable with is this narrative Jake Paul keeps wheeling out that he's going to be a world champion eventually. I frankly don't see any indication that Jake Paul can become a world champion. And they've just tried to basically build the credibility of this fight here. There doesn't seem to be much animosity between the two guys. Unsurprisingly, I think it is just a cash grab. Why would they hate each other? They're generations apart as well. So we'll see what happens. I genuinely think it could go either way. I don't know, because I just don't know where Mike Tyson is at. And that is the only real question that has to be answered. How bad is Mike Tyson now? How much has he deteriorated? How much has he declined? But anyway, guys, hopefully you've enjoyed the video. Bang a like on it. Subscribe to the channel if you're new. Get your comments in the comment section below. What do you think about this fight? And as I always say, on to the next one.